Mm,
I agree, but I read your chapter on how to not give an F, and
Right.
I find it very hard to stop caring about what others think. Like,
Why?
I don't know if you read this Chris Diaz situation. He basically got hooked up with chicks who were younger but at a legal age. Then all the social media kept going at him, so he got in a little bit of trouble. And
Mhm.
also navigating the workplace, like a dude in my mid 20s, it's kind of hard just reading about the red pill and trying to apply it in the workforce, but also not to be so, uh, you know, uh, HR department, the corporate S, and all this stuff. It's kind
Well,
of rumbling on my mind.
okay.
That
Okay, let me just guide you here so we can get to the question on this part of giving fewer Fs. So the chapter that you're referencing, I'm talking about managing your energy as a valuable resource, aka your fucks, and only dispensing them for things that are truly fuckworthy. So what's your question around that? Like, you're having a hard time valuing it as a resource, or what is it exactly?
I'm having a hard time not stop worrying about others or what they will think or what ramifications I'm gonna get later.
How old are you, Mo?
I'm pushing 24,
You're 24. Where do you live again?
Sweden.
Sweden. Okay. So at some point, you've got to realize that nobody gives a fuck about you. Women, society, the government, your employer. You like, men are disposable, generally speaking, and women are protected because they have more value than men on the sexual marketplace. You know, sperm is cheap, eggs are expensive, blah blah blah. I can go right down the list. So you're spending, like, you're not going to be able to manage your Fs and dispense them for things that are worthy of said Fs if you don't value your Fs. So if you have gas in the tank of your car and it's half full and you got to get somewhere that's probably going to use that amount of gas, you're not going to be smashing the pedal to the floor at every single light and braking abruptly and flying around corners and going faster than you should, because you're going to get shitty mileage, right? So you're going to value the gas that's in your tank and you're going to use it appropriately in accordance with the distance you have to travel and the way that you have to drive the car, right? So I mean, I did this the other night. It was cold as fucking hell out, and I didn't feel like pumping gas out into the car. It said that I had like 80 kilometers range, and the distance that I had to travel to get home was something like, I don't know, 50 kilometers. I wasn't smashing the gas. I valued the gas that I had in the tank as a resource, so I used it in a fashion that was in accordance with me looking at the value that was in the gas tank, sort of thing. So you have to stop caring about maybe the guy that's tailgating you. You have to stop caring about, you know, the guy that maybe needs to, you know, pull in and merge because you're traveling at a certain speed because you don't feel like getting out of the car and freezing your balls off, putting gas in the car at like minus 25, and you don't have gloves or a hat in your car or anything like that. I don't care, right? Like, when you see these things as a limited resource that you can only dispense on things that are important, then you will start to treat it that way. But you're not seeing as a limited resource, which is probably why you keep, you know, caring too much about everybody else and what they think of things. Does that make
I
sense?
I think it's just playing with my mind that I saw your tweet that got everybody talking about these 6 points that a woman should do,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw the fallback. I'm like, if I did the same thing, or I know you own your own business, so you can afford to not care about them.
Yeah.
But what if as a younger person or a person just starting his life,
Uh,
like,
Listen, you know, whenever I put out a tweet like that, and for those of you that don't know what it is, that are watching, that haven't seen me use this, I mean, if you go out onto Twitter right now and you say something like, "Ladies, here's the 5 things you need to do to keep a man: know what he likes in bed, know how to feed him, look feminine, keep your keep your hair and makeup nice, um, don't be a nag," you know, like standard stuff, like, you know, a grandmother would have told a granddaughter like 50 years ago. Just conventional stuff, nothing out of the ordinary, right? Well, Twitter loses its fucking mind when you do that. There was probably about 20 articles that was written on me. I was on different news stations around the world, different parts of the world, all over the world, and people were basically like, "Look at this incel, you know, telling women what to do. How dare he?" and blah blah blah, and pointing and sputtering. I laugh at it. there's guys out there like Mo right now who might look at that and be like, oh my God, all these people have opinions of me that I don't know what to do with, and they don't like me. So how do I, you have to get yourself to the point of Zen, not giving a fuck. And I'm at the point of Zen, not giving a fuck. Part of which, because I'm older than you are, and I'm also a lot more anti-fragile than you. Like, nobody can fire me, right? Like I had people that would come in and be like, oh, are you Richard Cooper of this company? Blah, blah. It's like, yeah, bitch, I'm the CEO. So go complain if you want. Nobody's firing me. Oh, you're a customer, you don't like it? Fuck off. I don't care, right? That's my opinion. If you have a problem with my opinion, then get lost. You know, it's as simple as that. That's just the way that you can get to when you start recognizing that your energy is valuable and you only should dispense your energy, aka your Fs, for things that are truly F worthy. Do I care of the opinion of all these morons that are writing articles and putting me on TV, calling me names? I don't. You know what happened? Guys like you saw it and were like, that's interesting. Let me see who this guy is. And then you found my material. So they're actually doing me a favor by marketing to the world for free, because I make a list of 5 things that women should do to keep men happy.
And they're
right?
outraged. I want to add to this. So a big thing too, I call it good chimpanzee, right? And I call it useful or valuable chimpanzee. So women and less valuable or beta males, okay, they're concerned about being good chimpanzees. They want to know what the society around them, you know, how they accept them, how they feel about them. This has to do with evolutionary drives. You know, women were able to survive based on their social status and standing in the tribe, or had to do with the social opinions of people around them. When people perceive them as being a good mom, a good person, or whatever. And this is the root of like why in an argument, for example, women don't like to admit that they're wrong or admit fault. It's not because, and they do sometimes, but they're handicapped in doing that if they think it's going to make them be a bad chimpanzee. You know what I mean? Now, guys, though, alpha guys, they just want to provide value to the tribe. So when they're providing value, they can be the asshole. They don't care. You know what I mean? They're the guy who defends the tribe and kicks everyone's ass and is kind of an asshole, though, back in the rear. Nobody's kicking that guy out. In fact, they're praising him. You know what I mean? The best hunter, if he's kind of a dick, nobody cares. They're praising him for what he does. So Rich is, you know, to use that analogy, he's a valuable chimpanzee, right? What he does in the world and the impact in the world is huge. So that's why he doesn't give a fuck. You see what I'm saying? When you know that you're bringing a lot of value to yourself, to your tribe, to people around you, and to the world, making that dent, doesn't matter what people think. Matters a lot less. You care a lot less about that. Now, you're a young guy, I can tell. So you're probably at the lowest point of value that you're going to be in your life. When you hit about 35 years old, you keep working on your shit, not worrying about what other people think. Your value that you bring is going to be a lot higher. And then you're not going to care so much about what other people are thinking. So a real practical thing or practical exercise is to start doing things that are going to provide value to yourself, to others, or build your value. Once you start building that value, it's easier to not give an F about what other people think. You know what I mean?
So what you mean is that I have to act like I'm part of them, like the male feminist beta buck, until I hit that point.
That's not it. No, that's not what I said. Let me just add to that. No, that's not what Paul said. So when you're looking for the validation of other people, that's a feminine behavior. That's a female behavior. Right. It's an evolved piece of their firmware for survival. Because I mean, part of the reason why women today are so drunk on attention on social media, like on Instagram or TikTok, doing these dances, and they're dancing around like fucking monkeys trying to get everybody's validation and likes and comments, is because it's hardwired into their firmware from millions of years ago. Because if they didn't have the approval of the tribe, what would happen? They'd get thrown out. Can they survive on their own? The chances of them doing it are not as high as a guy that has the ability to, you know, do the things that guys can do, because they're stronger and they're more capable for a gathering. And often women would have children. So that's also a disadvantage for them to, you know, be carrying that around if they're thrown out of the tribe. So when you're caring too much about what other people think, that's more on the feminine sort of the behavior scale. It's not masculine. It's not alpha. It's a beta behavior. So when you find yourself like, oh, well, that person thinks that, this of me. Just understand that you're thinking at a vibrational level that's not an alpha male's level, right?
Let's say a workplace that is very progressive and very Beta-like in feminine in their approach. Shall I just go under the radar and be like, okay, I'll be
Well,
like
you have
this
well, you have
double
two
agent?
choices. Sorry, you've got three choices: comply, shut the fuck up, and mind your own business, and just carry on knowing what you know and not offering your opinion because it's kind of pointless, or quit and go work somewhere else. That's really it.
Duly noted.
Yeah.
Thank
All right, Mo.
Thank you.
You got it, bro. See you later.